Oh, hello, Aaron. I had no idea it was you all that time. Hey guys, and welcome back to DarkLogic Studios' Attack on Titan theories and discussions. Before we go any further, I want to give you fair warning that these videos are going to contain lots and lots of spoilers. So if you're not caught up with the manga, then what are you doing with your life? Seriously though, if you don't want spoilers, you should probably click on something else. If you're all caught up though, then let's get to it. Hey, what's up guys? So it's time to talk about the new chapter of Attack on Titan. Chapter 97 is out now, and this was a really good chapter. A lot of stuff happened in this chapter. We've got a lot of stuff to discuss. So let's just jump right into it. So we start off with a flashback with Annie, and she's tailing Kenny. She's figured out somehow that Kenny is close to the king, and if she follows him, then she might be able to find the founding Titan. But she gets caught, and Kenny freaking pops up behind her like a freaking Houdini or some shit, and he says, "Hey miss, tailing an old man like me, you got decent taste in men." Okay, how old is Annie right now? Is she like 14 or something? You nasty, Kenny. Then she tries to get off by telling some lie, but he doesn't believe it. And she tries to kick him in the face, and she goes down into the sewer to escape. How the hell did she fit in that thing? The fuck is she, like an octopus? So then we go to another flashback, where the cadets are making fun of Bertolt sleeping in an odd position, which I remember them talking about in season 2. Thanks for that, I guess. And more flashbacks with Eren and Reiner, and while they're all fighting, Annie's just sitting there all freaking worn out. In the next scene, she's talking about how she's doing all the work, and they contemplate going back to Marley, just taking the information they've gathered and going home. But Reiner doesn't want to do that. He wants to go ahead and destroy Wall Rose and see what happens. And Reiner gets creepily close to Annie for a second. Bertolt's having dreams about the guy who hung himself. In another flashback, see Eren, he's pushing himself too hard. Reiner's telling him to rest, and Eren starts crying, and he's wishing he could be as good as Reiner and Mikasa, but he feels like if he can't get any better, he's gonna die without accomplishing anything. And then we have this really great sequence of panels. You see Reiner, it reminds him of himself when he was training to be a warrior, and he sees himself crippled on the ground just like Eren, feeling the exact same way. And we see the image of a bullet. Reiner tells Eren, just do what has to be done. We see a rifle being loaded. Eren looks up at Reiner. We see a moment of them planning to do their attack after the disbandment ceremony. And Reiner tells Eren, just keep on moving forward. There's nothing more you can do. Then we see a flashback of Eren, I believe, coming out of his Titan. Reiner's thinking, Eren, don't tell me you're... And then we get a flashback of the moment Marco was eaten, and Reiner asking why he's being eaten, which I believe is because he was completely in his soldier state of mind at that point. It's like he'd forgotten what had just happened. We see an image of Reiner taking Eren's hand, and he's talking to Bertolt and Annie. He says, let's prove that we are warriors. We'll do it tonight. Before they get the chance to investigate the 2 captured Titans, Annie and I will take care of them. See the gun finished being loaded. Reiner helps Eren up from off the ground. Eren says, that's it. You're right. And he's thinking of that moment on top of the walls, just before he and Bertolt had revealed themselves to Eren and the rest of the Survey Corps. Eren says to Reiner, all I can do is carry on moving forward. And then we see the last moment Reiner saw Bertolt. He says, I'm going. I'm counting on you, partner. Bertolt says, leave it to me. And Reiner says to Eren, I thought you were the guy that was going to destroy every single Titan. If that's you, then I know you can do it. And then the next page, we see Reiner with a rifle in his mouth, getting ready to shoot his freaking head off. God, how bad does Isayama want us to feel for this character? Like, seriously. Okay, Isayama, we get it. Reiner is fucking miserable. And then at that moment, right when he's about to pull the trigger, Falco very conveniently starts slamming on the wall right outside Reiner's room. Does he realize that that's Reiner's room? Like, is that Reiner's house, or is he just, like, in a hotel or something? But anyway, that stops him from pulling the trigger, and Falco's cursing himself. It's like, I can't do it like this. And Reiner pulls the gun out of his mouth. He sits there for a moment. He looks out the window at Falco walking away. He says, Falco, that's right. For me, there's still these guys. Falco's walking down the street, feeling all defeated. He's basically thinking to himself that there's no way he can surpass Gabby and get the armored titan. And he goes to the hospital, and we find our one-legged hobo friend. And he talks to him. He says, over here. He speaks! He says, I owe you one for before. And Falco comes and sits next to him. And he says, it seems like your recovery is going smoothly, seeing as you're able to talk again. Hobo guy says, that's right. I'm here for PTSD treatment, but it's a lie. Huh? I told him I had amnesia and couldn't find my way back home. Truth is, I just don't want to return back home. It's hard for me to show my face to my family now. Will you tell the hospital staff? Falco says, no. I wouldn't do such a thing. Hobo guy says, you're injured. It's from the Marley warrior training, isn't it? Yeah, but I can't become a warrior. Why? There are more outstanding candidates than me. It looks like I won't get a chance to. Is that so? That's good then. Falco looks over at him kinda confused and says, huh? You're a kind kid. I hope you live a long life. But still, I don't want this other candidate to become a warrior. Why is that? Is that candidate a girl? She's famous in Liberio. Enough to have already taken part in the war. If you ask anyone, they'd tell you she's the perfect candidate for becoming the Armored Titan. But I'm weak, so I'll probably die without having accomplished a thing. Hobo guy looks at him for a moment and says, I did some thinking these past few days in this facility. How did I turn out like this? My mind and body are exhausted. My freedom has been taken away from me, and I feel like I'm losing my identity. If everyone knew they'd turn out like this, no one would ever go to war. But everyone has something that's pushing them to take that step into hell. For most people, that something is not their own will. They're forced into it by the people around them or their circumstances. But for those who push themselves into it, the hell they see is different. They see something beyond that hell. It might be hope. It might be even more hell. You'll never know. If you're not the one who's continuing to take that path, then you'll never know. And next we see Reiner. He looks surprised. He says, Falco, where are you going at this time of the day? Falco's all excited and out of breath. He says, I left something behind, so I'm just going back to headquarters. Excuse me. He runs by and Reiner notices he has a letter in his hand. Next scene we see this statue and this guy looking up at it. Captain Magath is inside and he says, hey, what's all the fuss about? Another soldier says, the Tiber family has paid us a visit. Captain Magath's like, what? You see these guys lined up and the one guy's like, these aren't Marley soldiers. They're the Tiber family's own royal guard. They open the door. He says, please come in. Fancy looking guards. Very, very tall ones as well. These guys are very, very tall. It's that guy. And then Captain Magath is greeted by this dude with the hair. He says, I'm sorry for the sudden visit. My name is... Billy? Fucking Billy? Really? No, Isayama, no. No. That's like the worst name you can give a character. So, Billy Tiber.
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Shakes the hand of Theo Magath. And apparently Fabio, I'm not gonna call him Billy. I'm gonna call him Fabio because I can actually take that name more seriously than the name Billy. Okay, so Fabio, he's brought his whole family. They're all making a mess and causing a ruckus. And totally inconsiderate bunch of douchebags. It's even the children. I mean, look at that face. What the fuck is up with that kid's face? So then we have this conversation between Magath and Fabio says, if you're the ones who led the warriors from their very inception, then you must have figured out which member of the family is the current holder of the Warhammer Titan. Magath says, no, I haven't got a clue. I'm not even sure why you came here to Liberio. Just as I've heard, you are a man of prudence. We rarely show ourselves, even amongst the upper-class Marleyans. The identity of the Warhammer Titan is known to only a few. The owner of the headquarters, who seems to be one of those few, left the headquarters in a hurry this morning after receiving instructions from the top. That's a rare occurrence. That's why I'm speaking to you now in this place. Does that have something to do with the sudden visit? I've come here to see the hero's statue. 100 years ago, he, a human, destroyed the devil of the earth. Heros, the Marley hero who saved the world. He was amazing, brave, handsome, without so much as a scratch on him. He's truly the spirit of Marley. Yes, that's right, because the inside of that statue is completely hollow. Commander Magath, you're ruthless. Rumor has it you're trying to revive the Marleyan conscription system. The wars of Marley exist only in the newspapers. It'd be great if you could expand your territory simply by reading those words. It'd be even greater if the only ones who got shot were the descendants of the devil. In reality, even if they hear the bullets whizzing past their ears, Marley will never stop walking the path of war until it gets destroyed completely. If there's someone controlling Marley from behind the scenes, then I want to tell them this. It's already too late. Truly unforgivable. How shameless. As you have guessed, the nation of Marley is under our control. However, the path of militarism is one that Marley has always chosen. In order to atone for our sins against Marley, we gave them freedom and strength. By we, I mean our ancestors. You're speaking as if you've observed it all this time. I have. I received these memories along with the Warhammer Titan. That is the Tiber family's duty. We have simply observed the Marley locking up Eldians and doing as they please. The result of that, both Eldia and Marley falling into deep darkness. That responsibility lies with us. The Titan power has been left behind generation after generation, and there's rebellion bubbling on Paradise Island. We intend on revealing everything at the upcoming festival. I'll bet all my hopes on that. I wasn't lying about coming to see the hero statue. Marley needs another heroes. Theomagith, won't you take this hand once again? And after that scene, we see a panel of Zeke chit-chatting on the phone, smoking a cigarette. He's looking pretty relaxed. And we see Falco, he's coming up to the mailbox. And we go back to the homeless guy, and he says, Falco, I have a favor to ask. What is it, Mr. Kruger? I want to send a letter, but here in the internment zone they'll check its contents. That's right. If that happens, they'll find out I'm faking. So please put this in the post box outside of here. Okay, are you sending it to your family? Yes. I just want to let them know that I'm here and safe. So Falco pops in that letter, he walks away, and we see it sitting in the mailbox with the words, "The curtain rises." Okay, so the first thing I want to touch on real quick is the opening scene here. We see Annie and Kenny, and what's interesting is that we've been seeing more and more of Annie in these flashbacks. And it makes me think more and more that Annie is probably going to come back at some point before this manga's over. All these flashbacks, I think, are hinting at the possibility that she might have a big role to play at the end here. We've been waiting for her to come back ever since the first season, so hopefully these are some good signs that we're going to see her again soon. Now, another interesting thing is the appearance of Kenny. We haven't seen him for a while either, and obviously this is a flashback, but it could mean that hopefully we are going to get some more information about the Ackermans soon, and their role is going to start coming more into play as we reach the finale of this story. The next thing I want to talk about is Reiner in this chapter. Now in this chapter we see him almost kill himself, and that's pretty fucking depressing. Like, we've kind of been getting hammered over the head already about how Reiner's not really a bad guy and how he and Eren actually have a lot in common, and we've been seeing more and more of the effect that it's been having on him, and now it's all come to a head, and it's finally just become too much for him as he's thinking about all the things that happened on Paradise Island and the friendship that he had with Eren, the genuine friendship that he developed with these characters, and he can't handle it. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to go back to Paradise Island and go through all that again and probably have to kill all these people that he cares about. He can't deal with that, and who can blame him? And he wanted to just end it right there until Falco very conveniently interrupts him, which kind of sloppily done, but whatever. It stops Reiner from pulling the trigger, and he realizes that he still has to stick around for these kids and how devastating it would be for them if he did kill himself. So he changes his mind, and it makes me wonder whether he's really considering what would happen to the Armored Titan. I think that maybe he wanted the Armored Titan to be lost to the Marley. It's clear that he doesn't want Gabby to inherit it, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of his intentions as well, but seems like he's just so conflicted. He just doesn't know what to do anymore. And then of course there's that scene with our hobo friend, who is now pretty much confirmed to be Eren. And that to me is the most exciting thing about this chapter, because we suspected right from the beginning, right from that very first panel where you just see in the back of his head, that this guy was gonna be Eren, hanging out with the Marley, and we were right. And that's awesome. So Falco comes over and talks to Hobo Eren, and he tells Falco that he told the hospital that he has amnesia and he can't find his way back home. But the truth is he just doesn't want to go home, which of course all of that is a lie. And Eren has some pretty poignant things to say. Seems like he feels bad for these Marleyan kids, of course. Why wouldn't he? And he's taken a liking to Falco. I'm not quite sure what Eren was trying to say there about walking that path, an interesting line, and about pushing himself into hell. Guess you could say Eren was kind of one of the ones who pushed himself into it, so he knows what he's talking about, I guess. But what's really important about this part of the chapter is a little bit later, when we see Eren, who is going by the name Mr. Kruger, give Falco a letter. And we see him running off all excited to deliver it, like he's really happy to help out this guy. I'm pretty sure that was addressed to Zeke. We see a random ass panel of him just chit-chatting on the phone and smoking a cigarette while Falco is putting it in the mailbox. And Eren also said that he's sending it to his family. So who else could it be? Why is Eren sending Zeke that letter? Is Zeke expecting him? Is this his signal to let him know that he made it there and he successfully infiltrated the Marley? Or is this going to be a big surprise? I don't think Zeke's going to be surprised at all. I think that he was planning this. I think that him and the Tiber family and Eren and maybe the rest of the Survey Corps, we're not sure yet, are all in cahoots together and they're planning something big. Something huge is going to happen at this festival, and we're slowly seeing all the pieces line up for the big finale. And that's going to determine how this final battle is going to go. I'm so fucking happy Eren's back. And then of course we have this scene at the end with Billy. Fucking Billy. Mr. Fabio. And here we find out another big thing. Another big fan theory was confirmed in this chapter, and that is that the Tiber family really is in control of the Marley. That's a big deal. So if the Tiber family are in control of the Marley, and that means that the Marley themselves aren't really the enemy, and that Eldians have been at war with Eldians this whole time. This is all so confusing. So we're going back to that question, who is the real enemy? Who are we really fighting here? Why is it that an Eldian family is ruling over the Marleyan nation? From the way he talks about it, Mr. Fabio, it sounds like the Tiber family are pretty passive rulers. They kind of just sit back and let the Marley do whatever they want, pretty much, while just sitting on their throne with their Warhammer Titan, allowing them to start wars and oppress other Eldians. And he seems to express some level of regret, saying that their ancestors chose this path, that the Tiber family are responsible for the fate of the Marley and the Eldians. Sounds like they were the one that started this whole thing and kind of just sat back and let chaos ensue. Now when he's talking about the hero statue, I'm gonna have to wait for the official translation to really dig into this, but it sounds to me like there's a lot of metaphorical talk going on here. When he says, 100 years ago, he, a human, destroyed the devil of the earth, then I believe he must be referring to a titan. But who was that titan? It says the devil of the earth, and I guess if you go from the original Japanese, it translates literally to earth demon. Now, as I've said before, I don't believe there are any devils or demons in this story, as it has suggested in the past. I think that when they're saying things like devil, demons, stuff like that, they're referring to the titans, they're referring to the subjects of Ymir. So whatever devil this Heroes person defeated must have been a titan, and I think it's safe to say that it wasn't one of the mindless titans or a variant. It had to be one of the 9 titans. And the question is, what happened to this titan once he defeated it? Did he just kill it, or did he actually steal this titan's power? Now I guess a lot of people have been saying that this statue might have some connection with the Ackermans, and I didn't consider that at first. But now that I'm looking at it again, I could kind of see what people are talking about. We've got this titan with a beard and a guy shoving a spear through his mouth, which is very similar to how Levi had Zeke cornered when he almost killed him. So that's a pretty interesting similarity. And I can't help but wonder if Isayama did this on purpose. Is this a clue? Does this mean that Heroes was an Ackerman? Now I suppose that very well could be true. After all, he says a human, I'm assuming by himself, destroyed a titan, this devil of the earth. So who do we know that's capable of doing that? Or at least the closest to being capable of doing that. Of killing one of the 9 titans all by himself. Well, obviously that's Levi. So that's pretty interesting. There's also another thing that he says when he's talking about Heroes. He's praising him like he was this perfect person, this ideological hero. And then Mr. Fabio says, he's truly the spirit of Marley. Magus looks at the statue and he says, that's right, because the inside of the statue is hollow. So what does that mean? What's Magus trying to say here? I believe that what he is saying when he says the statue is hollow is that the statue, very much like the rest of Marley's history, is both exaggerated and fabricated. The true Heroes was probably nothing like the legend or the statue represents. Again, we've been talking about these themes in this story, that history is written by the victor, and all this propaganda that the Marley's already thrown out there. So this hero statue is really just another one of those lies, just another one of those things where you're not sure how much of it is true or not, how much of it the Marley just made up in order to give themselves more glory. And Mr. Fabio, I think, seems to sense a little bit of dissent in Captain Magus, and he looks a little irritated. Then at the end of the conversation, he tells Magus that they intend to reveal everything at the upcoming festival. And then he says Marley needs another Heroes, and offers to shake his hand again. So what does he mean when he says Marley needs another Heroes? Well, I think it's obvious based on what we've already seen being talked about between Zeke and the other warriors. What they need is to create something to rally around, something for the people to get behind, something for them to support but also fear. They already said that they plan on reminding the people how dangerous and how much of a threat Paradise Island actually is, and perhaps appoint a new hero to represent the strength and the spirit of Marley in this upcoming war. So who is that gonna be? And what's gonna happen at the festival? When he says he's gonna reveal everything, does that really mean like everything? Like all of it? We're gonna finally get all the answers? That's pretty terrifying and exciting. Are they gonna whip out the Warhammer Titan at the festival and just scare the shit out of everybody? What are they gonna do? Tell me what you guys think in the comments. What did you think of this chapter? What do you think is gonna happen next? Are you excited about this new information that's been revealed? Are you excited that these theories have been proven true? I know I'm excited. Also, do you guys think that this statue could really be a reference to or a clue to the truth about the Ackermans? Do you think Heroes was an Ackerman? Do you think there's some connection there? Tell me what you think. We've still got so much to discuss about this chapter, so make sure to check back here for my discussion videos on the weekends. Alright guys, thanks for watching my review of Chapter 97 of Attack on Titan. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And check out my Patreon if you want to help support this channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.